Quiet on the set.
Camera speed.
Sound production.
Roll sound.
Rolling.
Sound production. Take 2.
Welcome to the I Remember Liking That Movie podcast. Remember those childhood movies you loved? Now, we're going to watch them again and find out if they're still as amazing as you remember. Or, your father was right. You were an idiot, and everything you watched was stupid. So buckle up, movie aficionados. Over-the-top gore? Check. Over-embellished action? Check. Gratuitous nudity? Double check. Storylines so absurd you could drive a semi-truck through those plot holes. Oh yeah, some of those movies didn't even know what a movie plot was. And that's the way we liked it. Now, here's your hosts, Anna Santos and Jimmy Coates.
Welcome to the I Remember Liking That Movie podcast. Today we are, I guess, because the election is right there for the next president of the United States, and we thought we'd watch Idiocracy. Excuse the Michael Myers stuff behind me. We pre-record all our previews because obviously we can't just do a preview, watch the movie in 2 minutes, and come back and review it. So when we do come back to review the movie, it will look hopefully a lot different. Or I might just be that fucking lazy and it's just all the same. All right. What do you remember about Idiocracy from 2006?
Okay, I actually did not watch this movie in 2006. I think it was closer to 2012, 2015.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no, it was it was well after it came out. And it was funny because I watched it and didn't even think about it. And then when rumblings of Donald Trump running for president came up, so I think in 2015 was the last time I saw it, because I watched it the first time and I was like, God, this movie is stupid. But then I watched it again when, like, it was stupid but funny. So then I watched it again when Donald Trump was starting his campaign. And everybody's like, oh my God, this is Idiocracy come to life. And I was like, was it? And then I watched it again and I was like, oh shit, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
And it made a lot more sense. And it was probably more entertaining because I found the jokes hit a lot better.
Yeah, I did watch it. I thought it was friggin' hilarious. But I'm an idiot. So I did watch a thing. Joe Rogan actually had Mike Judge on. And one of the things, like, he predicted, like, he just told his department to go out and look for shoes that look stupid, just stupid. And the guy and Crocs were just coming out. And the guy that was looking at them was like, this is pretty dumb. So everyone wears Crocs. The only thing he was upset about, Mike Judge, was that they were, because it was actually shelved for a bit. It was done a year before that, and they shelved it, and we'll get into that in just a second. But he missed the Apple iPhone by like 7 months or 11 months or something like that. And he said that if he would have saw that, he would have definitely incorporated it to just, yeah. So he missed, the iPhone wasn't out yet when he did it. All right. So I remember thinking this was just stupid fun. It was fun.
Yeah, no, I thought it was a good time the first time I saw it. And I was like, God, that movie's stupid.
Oh, really?
But I laughed through it.
All right. Let's go to the box office. Release September 1st, 2006. That's where you want to make a lot of money. Release your movie in September. Budget between 2.5 and 4 million. It had a domestic total of 444,000, an international total of 51,000, and a worldwide of $495,000. This movie fucking tanked.
Oh, it tanked hard.
Hardcore.
It tanked so hard.
Now, there is a story about this. because when it came out on DVD, I'm just bringing it up. It was released on January 9th, 2007, and it had earned 9 million on DVD rentals.
Oh, wow.
Right off the hop. So it did 20 times its domestic.
That's impressive.
Yeah. Now here's where we get, is it this the okay, so although it was not screened in advance for critics, Idiocracy received positive reviews. On Rotten Tomatoes, the film score was 71% with an average rating of 6.4 out of 10, based on 52 reviews. Basically, it was goofy, it was fun. The LA Times reviewer described it as spot on satire and a pitch black, bleak, hilarious vision of America's future. Now, this movie got absolutely no, like none whatsoever, absolutely nothing. And the rumor goes that they weren't really paying attention to what Mike Judge was doing. 20th Century Fox, he did Office Space, he did King of the Hill for Fox TV. So they kind of let him do his thing. They got permission to use all these different corporations in the movie. And when the corporations saw what they'd done, like what Terry Crews was saying, like he was saying in an interview that we had Starbucks giving hand jobs. We had Costco being these monotone morons saying that we love you. And the corporations freaked out. So by law, they had to release it because they had a contract with Mike Judge.
Yeah.
But they released it in the least amount of theaters legally possible. They put no commercials. They put no posters up, not a single thing. And it just died. And then became a cult classic when it went for rent.
Honestly, that makes a lot of sense because I don't remember hearing about it in 2006.
No, not at all.
Literally like 2012.
Yeah, and no commercials, nothing. This was something that popped up at Blockbuster, and it was like, oh, what's this? Oh, it's Mike Judge. It's Luke Wilson. It opened in 130 theaters at 35th place. Far behind newcomers Crank, The Wicker Man, that's Nicolas Cage Wicker Man, which I still have not fucking seen, which was in third. Crossover, don't even know what that movie is, ninth. And a new Lassie movie. A new fucking Lassie movie.
Oh, Lord.
Kick this movie's ass. By its 15th day of release, Idiocracy had dropped down to 13 theaters, and a few days later to only 10 theaters nationwide, and accumulated the $359,000, the bulk of its box office haul.
Yeah.
It did stay in a handful of theaters for the next 13 weeks.
Damn.
Yeah. So it really got the shaft.
I feel bad.
Yeah. But I guess the corporations were pretty pissed.
I mean, I get it. I'd be pissed too. Also, you shouldn't just agree to something without actually reading how you're going to be represented.
Well,
sure
I guess they thought Office Space was a cult classic, and Mike Judge,
they didn't think they thought it was going to be, oh, they're going to grab coffee from Starbucks in the movie.
Yep.
They didn't think, oh, they're going to portray us as giving hand jobs.
Yeah.
In the movie.
All right, let's go to Tale of the Tape. September 1st, 2006. It's considered a comedy sci-fi. It's rated R and comes in at 1 hour and 24 minutes.
I love the time. Love it.
Taglines. The future is a no-brainer.
Oh, that's clever.
In the future, intelligence is extinct.
Interesting.
That's it.
That's all you need.
Synopsis. In 2005, average in every way, Private Joe Bowers, Luke Wilson, is selected to take part in a secret military experiment to put him in hibernation for a year, along with a woman named Rita, Maya Rudolph. The slumbering duo is forgotten when the base they are stored on is closed down and they are left in stasis until 2505. When they finally wake up, they discover the average intelligence of humans has decreased so much that Joe is now the smartest man in the world.
Oh, Lord.
And here is the original movie poster. I don't even remember this. I remember the DVD cover that we've been just looking at.
Same.
From the creator of Beavis and Butthead and Office Space. It just has the wheel of, oh, frig. And he's all fat and he's holding a beer and a TV remote. And what are those? A ball of wine, a beer, and something up top there.
Oh, it's a
The Crocs?
gaming thing. No,
Oh, a game controller.
game controller.
He's all fat, his guts hanging out of his shirt. It's actually a funny poster. All right. Critic consensus. We already talked about it a little bit, but
Yep.
52 critics reviews comes at 71%. 50,000 audience reviews comes in at 61%. Critic consensus is frustratingly uneven, yet enjoyable overall. Idiocracy skewers society's
Devolution.
devolution with an amiable, goofy, yet deceptively barbed wit. I
That
just
sounds very
remember a lot
positive.
of politically incorrect humor. You may start with the positive.
Although Wilson's Everyman is a bit too much of a blank slate to really care about, the gaudy visuals and cynical gags more than compensate. Lucy Barrick, Radio Times 3 out of 5.
The film was shelved good and hard after its initial release, and it's not difficult to see why. It's just a little too close to genuine reality. Dorothy Wooden, the Ty?
Even if some of the gags about dumb people start becoming tiresome, it's linked to a sensation of discomfort that should make us legitimately worry about the direction we're headed in. Jeffrey Chen, Window to the Movies, 8 out of 10. Very valid, Jeffrey.
You have to love a movie that imagines a dystopic future in which the U.S. president is a former wrestler and porn star named Dwayne Elizondo Mountain Dew Herbert Camacho. Rob Humanick, projection booth B. Oh, I forgot about that.
I look forward to a time when I can safely laugh at Idiocracy, but that time may not come anytime soon. Rob Gonzalez, Rob's Movie Vault, B.
Each laugh is tempered with the unsettling realization that Judge's vision of mankind's future might not be too far off the mark. Pete Vonderhaar, Film Threat, 4 out of 5. Yeah, if you
Yeah.
look at my algorithm, oh my God. You think I was mentally deranged. Here are the crappy ones. You may go first.
I'm ready. We may look back at this film in 500 years and realize that Mike Judge was better able to predict the future than Arthur C. Clarke did with 2001: A Space Odyssey. Kevin Carr, 7M Pictures, 2.5 out of 5.
The film stinks. Phil Hall, Edge Boston, 0.5 out of 5.
Damn, Phil. It's a pointed, if cynical and somewhat bitter, commentary on the state of society, but the story is thin and meandering at best. Betsy Bosdek, DVDjournal.com, 2 out of 4.
There's about 15 minutes worth of laughs here. The problem is that the film is 84 minutes long. Michael W. Phillips Jr., Goat Dogs Movies, 1 out of 5.
Ow, my brain. Joshua Rich, Entertainment Weekly, rating D.
All right, IMDb. 191,000 user ratings, comes in at 6.5 out of 10. That's not bad.
That's pretty good. We've seen worse.
Yeah, you may start.
Better every 5 years. Seriously, the more time passes, the better this movie becomes. It's just slightly less of a comedy and more of a documentary every few years. 10 out of 10. BNF 03936.
Despite the crudeness and stupidity, it's an amazingly insightful film. 9 out of 10. Plankton rules.
It's amazing how many people miss.
Tie. Sorry.
It's a tie. It's a tie. Damn it. It's amazing how many people miss the point. Oh, wait. No, it isn't. Subcreature. And it's tied with this one. The scariest movie I have ever seen. Boone.
Demented and hilarious. Deliberately superficial. 7 out of 10. Pandemonio.
An underrated sci-fi comedy. 6 out of 10. Jamie Darlow, 37510.
Aged like spoiled milk. Silly and immature humor. 5 out of 10. Mika Yakakantan.
Yeah.
Sure.
Satire is a scalpel. This is a wrecking ball. 4 out of 10. Glosh Pit.
Like being punched in the brain. 3 out of 10. The
Karmic Nomad.
Karmic Nomad. Sure. Oh, you got a tie again.
Oh, I got another tie. So these are tied for 2 out of 10. The first one is a stupid movie about stupidity. CSAT X-Sibe?
X-Sibe? Sure.
Yeah, that's what we're going to do. And the other one is, do you really want to give up 84 minutes of your life? Scalasag.
This movie just sucks. 1 out of 10. Striker 6.
Thank you, Striker.
Yeah.
Succinct to the point.
All right. Well, we've looked at all the stuff for Idiocracy. Let's take a look at the trailer and make a prediction.
Mm-hmm.
Just got to share it. Share.
At the dawn of the 21st century, the Army began a top-secret experiment.
Meet Joe Bowers, our first subject for the human hibernation experiment. As you know, this is highly classified. However, if successful, we believe humans can be stored indefinitely.
However, the trial run was prone to human error.
See you in a year.
And Joe slept slightly longer than expected. Half a millennium, to be exact. From Mike Judge, creator of Office Space and Beavis and Butthead.
Oh my God!
If you were the smartest person in the world...
This goes in your mouth. This one goes in your butt. Hang on a second. This one goes in your mouth.
And we're stuck with the dumbest people in history.
If you have one bucket that holds 2 gallons and another bucket that holds 5 gallons, how many buckets do you have?
2? What would you do?
Excuse me, I'm actually supposed to be getting out of prison.
You're in the wrong line.
I'm the smartest guy in the world? Says who?
IQ test you took in prison. You got the highest score in history.
Even smarter than President Camacho.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of America! In the year 2505.
We got this guy. He's gonna fix everything. So you smart, huh?
The ordinary will be considered extraordinary.
I thought your head would be bigger.
Idiocracy.
For the smartest guy in the world, you're pretty dumb sometimes.
What's your prediction?
I think I'm going to like it. And I think I'm going to roll my eyes a lot. Definitely. But I think I'm going to laugh. I think I'm going to laugh. God, I hope so.
Yeah,
what about
this
you?
2006. This is right in the heyday of we don't give a shit if you're
Oh, yeah.
offended. Yeah, we don't care. And I couldn't be more excited. Yeah, it's going to be silly. It is going to have some eye rolling, but
Mhm.
I think it's going to be funny. I'm kind of curious to see how, because when you look at, I remember stuff about them just being the kick to the nut videos and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, we're like that now. Just get lost on our phones.
There's a lot that, like, if I'm remembering correctly, there's a lot from this movie. Because I remember the first time I saw it, I was like, well, that was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then the next time I saw it, I was like, that hit closer to home because this is not that far off. Like, it makes a lot of... So now I'm terrified that I'm going to watch it and be like, oh, God, this could be next week.
Yep. All right. Well, we are going to... I have a feeling whoever wins, this could be next week. We are going to go watch Idiocracy when we come... The President Camacho. And when we get back, we are going to review it.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Delicious things to eat.
The popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy. The chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
And now, on with the show.
Zhang essay.
Yeah, right. Well, not so good. You know, I don't really know what's going on, but I'm seeing things. I think it might be because of these drugs the Army put me on. But if you could just get me well enough to get back to base.
Right. Kick ass. Well, don't want to sound like a dick or nothing, but it says on your chart that you're fucked up. You talk like a fag, and your shit's all retarded. What I do is just like you know, you know what I mean? Like,
no, I'm serious here.
Don't worry, Scro. Now there are plenty of tards out there living really kick-ass lives. My first wife was tarded. She's a pilot now.
I need for you to be serious for a second here, okay? I need help.
There's that fag talk we talked about. Right, so that'll be this many dollars. And if you could just go ahead and, like, put your tattoo in that shit.
That's weird. This thing has the same misprint as that magazine. What are the odds?
Where's your tattoo? Tattoo? Why don't you have this? Where's your tattoo? Oh my God. Why come you don't have a tattoo?
Oh my God.
You're not unscannable, are you?
Oh my God!
You're unscannable.
Unscannable! No, you don't understand. You gotta let me talk to someone in the Army. A second. They're all dead. Everybody I know is dead. Oh my God! Oh. Come down! How this happened?
And that pretty much sums up the movie. Welcome back, everybody. Did you watch 2006 Idiocracy?
I did.
Your initial thought?
Terrifying and funny at the same time. For so many reasons. Also, I'd like to say, with the use of all the slurs that were all up in there, I initially was very like, ooh, and then I really thought about it, and I'm like, yeah, no, these people don't know how not to be assholes. So I'm like, okay, cool, like I get it now, and you're just throwing all that language out there. Oh, geez, yeah, funny and terrifying all at the same time, rolled up into one, especially now that we know the results of the election. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it was 2006, so a lot of people basically they were taking how people were actually talking. Not everybody was talking like that. I was talking like that. It was a long time ago, and they just amplified it. And
yeah.
But it didn't take itself serious. Like, I wasn't offended by it. I wasn't.
No.
It was so stupid. But I did enjoy it. It was very nostalgic, and it was so dumb. But it was so dumb on purpose, and I enjoyed it. It was funny. There were a lot of funny
I
parts.
giggled through a lot of the movie.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of like small things that are thrown in there that you're just like, oh my God, I can't believe they did that. And you giggle to yourself through most of it. There are a couple like laugh out loud moments, but I actually appreciate movies like this more, where they cause you to giggle or give small laughs through the entire thing. Because I like that consistency of like, and they dedicated themselves to this bit through the entire movie.
Oh yeah.
Like they were like, we're gonna go in hard. We are dedicated to this, and it is so fucking amazing.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go over Idiocracy first because it jumps ahead here. I love the opening voiceover. I love the comparison with the more intelligent couple, and I love the trailer park couple.
Oh jeez. The not even a couple.
Not
You
yet.
gotta really call them what is it, Cloven?
Yeah.
That was which, by the way, great play on that, because I'm like, Cloven, you know who has cloven hoofs? Barn animals. Just saying.
And he was banging his neighbor, and They were. I think they were connected. They weren't even like separated. They were like a connected.
Yeah, no, they were like right next. Like they shared a wall.
Because the two girls were arguing. They were throwing stuff, but they were like so close to each other. They were throwing stuff at each
Their
other.
front doors were next to each other.
And then he was saying she didn't really matter to him. And then all of a sudden, this other one comes running down the road. Another girl that he was sleeping with. Oh, and the son, the football player. That was awesome.
Clovis Jr.
Yeah, and it goes. And it basically the smart couple keep having children, and then he dies, and she throws some eggs, and basically the idiots just keep reproducing.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
They're like, we're just gonna let this stupid propagate, and all of the seemingly intelligent, financially comfortable people are just like, I'm just gonna wait for the right time and the right person. And I was like, I super identify with that. Apparently, I should have started having kids when I was like 20. Who knew?
Okay. Oh, let me bring this first. There we go. Okay, so let's go over the movie. In 2005, United States Army librarian Joe Bauer is selected for a government-suspended animation experiment as the most average individual in the armed forces. That was pretty funny too. I like how he's all mad because he's getting this promotion to do this experiment.
Yeah,
he goes
he's like, well, I'm good here.
Yeah, he goes, you sit on your ass and watch TV all day. He's like, yeah, I know.
Yeah. And I'm good at it.
Yeah. Shouldn't I train the new guy? And he's like, no, I think the new guy can figure this one out on himself.
He's like, yeah, I think he'll be able to figure out how to sit and watch TV.
Yeah. Lacking a suitable female candidate, the military hires a prostitute, Rita, by paying off her pimp Upgrade.
Spelled with two D's.
Two D's.
Yeah.
For double pimping.
I think God, that was great.
Yeah. And then dismissing charges against her. A scandal involving the officer overseeing the initiative and Upgrade forces the closure of the military base, which Joe and Rita were placed in hibernation, suspending the project indefinitely. Then
I really like that.
Yeah.
You could tell when that military officer is giving
his first little thing, and he keeps going through the slides.
Slides. He starts going through the slides.
He's trying to explain like pimp life.
I had to ingratiate myself to them and to Upgrade, in order to get Rita to do this. So I had to learn about that pimp life. And you just the constant scrolling.
Yeah, and they're like, "Can you just hurry this up?" And it's got like 50 pictures of him in Upgrade with the hose.
With the hose, all the hose.
And then he gets charged with a prostitution ring.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Over the next 500 years, average intelligence decreases due to social expectations, discouraging well-educated individuals from having children as less educated reproduce indiscriminately. Genetic engineering is foregone in favor of hair loss and erectile dysfunction treatments. Yeah, that was awesome. All the scientists abandoned all science except for hair growth and erectile dysfunction. Which,
I mean, not that far off, because pharmacies, big pharma is going to look at what can make them money, especially because you're looking at it from an American perspective. I think that's very important to remember, because America really is like a super capitalist society.
Yeah.
So like everything is seen as a potential profit. So for them to be like, I mean, we could solve the world's issues, but men need hair and hard penises.
And boners.
Yeah, that's what they need. That's to make the world better.
As a result, infrastructure deteriorates. Low comedy and vulgarity defines culture, and consumer is left unfettered. And one could argue we're here. Never mind. I think about almost 8, 9, 10 years ago. We're here. We are here.
We are in the starting stages of it. Yeah. This is the beginning. This is the genesis of Idiocracy becoming real life. And I think this is a very important wake-up call for everyone, because I don't want to live in filth while eating. I don't even know what that was in that tub.
Yeah, they're slurping chicken at it, but it's
flatorium. It was something weird. I was like, what the fuck?
It was chicken, but he was drinking it.
It was gross. They're literally dipping their finger into tubs of what looks like grease.
And they're sofa has built-in toilets.
Yeah.
That was gross.
They're watching a show called Ow My Nuts.
Ow my nuts.
Just a guy getting hit in the nuts with various implements.
I probably would watch that show if it was on.
I mean, don't get me wrong, we already kind of do. It's called ridiculousness. And also, I mean, it's sad to say, but I mean, a guy getting hit in the nuts.
That's
kind
pretty
of funny.
Yeah.
Especially because they always crumple down to the ground and then just lay there.
Yeah. It's funny. Yeah, and actually, just kind of related to this is that Australia is in the midst of passing a bill making it illegal for any kid under 16 to be able to go on social media sites.
I mean,
I think they Canada just banned TikTok, like the company from the country. You can still go on TikTok and upload and all. So I don't know what this actually does.
You know what it does? It actually keeps it from because here's the thing, TikTok has a parent company.
Yes.
Which I think is
the Chinese government.
But no, they have a partnership because in each country you can either have like just the app is available to you, or you have it as a partnership with a company within that country.
Oh, okay.
So that's what happened with China. China was like, okay, if TikTok's going to be here, we want to control our TikTok. So they became partners with the Singapore company, and then the Chinese company or the Chinese partner controls how TikTok works in China.
Well, they say TikTok in China is completely different than TikTok here.
It's so much more censored, and they have a lot of like
educational. It's very state friendly propaganda types to help the country. Here, it's softcore porn and nut videos and stupid dance things. Yeah,
it's very different. But that's essentially what the bill is saying. It's we don't want you to have a company here that controls what Canadian TikTok looks like.
Right.
So it's almost anti-censorship because once a private company here decides to control what info, because right now you can get TikToks from anywhere in the world unless they're being blocked by the country's company partnership. So you can get anything. However, if a Canadian company was to take over like Canadian TikTok, then they would be able to control what gets through, what gets seen, what gets flagged. Right now, it's almost more of a free for all.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I don't think
TikToks.
I don't think it's just making. I think it's making not normal people, older people stupid. I don't go on TikTok. It's the dumbest.
The algorithm gives me weird TikToks.
Yeah.
I.e., I end up on a lot of political TikTok.
Yeah,
I'm all over political TikTok.
The strictest of rules that make no sense.
Oh,
like you can't say certain things, you can't debate certain things, but you can make softcore porn. That's okay.
100%.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
Honestly, part of that is very arbitrary, but it's also whoever's viewing the TikToks, they are able to report TikToks.
Yes.
So a lot of creators. All it takes, if you're a super liberal creator, then the conservatives will mass report. For conservative, more conservative TikTokers, they don't get a lot of mass reporting unless they're literally saying something so incredibly just evil. Then everybody's like, oh shit. Otherwise, all the liberals just duet or stitch them and respond.
Yeah, I do like that part, but you can do that on YouTube and stuff like that. You can stitch them and stuff. Yeah.
I mean, it's a very similar, and I'm sure Meta's about to introduce something very similar to that, or they already have.
Yeah.
To Instagram and Facebook and all of that.
My Facebook Reels. Oh my God, it's weird. I don't know what I watched. It sends me the weird, but I keep watching it, so it just keeps sending me weirder and weirder.
I have become weirdly obsessed with it's the React channel. I think on YouTube they do people versus food, so it's people trying new foods.
Yeah, I've watched those. That's pretty funny.
I love those, and I love that
hooked
they have
on an Irish one.
Ooh,
Irish people trying different foods. Yeah.
I love that. And then there was one where it was like Mexican moms try, Vietnamese food. And you're like, ooh, I wonder what they think about pho. Tell me more. But yeah, social media can be very helpful, but it can also be super detrimental.
Very fun. I don't think kids should go on it.
I don't think they should go on it unsupervised. 100%.
Yeah,
That is not. I also don't think kids should have
I don't think I
cell
should
phones.
go on unsupervised.
I agree with that. I don't think kids should have cell phones before they can pay for it themselves.
Yeah,
like
no,
fully
our kids-
functional. Yeah, no.
Yeah, we made that decision. Like, unless I have been looking at phones where it's the old phones. It's not a smartphone.
Get your kid a flip phone.
Like a flip phone, so
Yep.
when they're out, they can call and that type
Yes.
of stuff. Yes.
Yes. I'm all about that.
Yep.
And until the kid gets a job and wants to pay for their own phone, you don't get the data, you don't get the social media apps, you don't get any of that.
No.
And it's I used to say this to my friends all the time where I'm like, your 12-year-old doesn't need to be on Instagram.
No.
Doesn't need it.
No.
Showing them Instagrams while you're there with them, cool. But the internet's a fucking scary place. And I think we've become desensitized to that.
Yeah.
But I mean, when we were there from the beginning of the internet at home,
Yeah.
the easily accessible internet. So you remember like all of the PSAs about like, do you really know who you're talking to? And you're like, that could be some freaky old man. Why are you talking to them? So I mean, it's
Oh, I remember that being on a chat room and like, oh, I'm talking to this chick, and I can't remember. Someone was like, how do you know it's really a chick?
Yeah.
Because they said so. Yeah, it could be a guy lying to you.
100%.
Oh, way to ruin
100.
my fucking chat. Yuck.
Yeah. But
I
I
don't
mean,
want to talk to nobody.
social media can either enrich someone's life and give them great information and resources, or it can dumb them down to the point where you're like, you're too stupid to live.
Yeah.
And I've been saying that a lot this week. So I'm going to try to really not say stuff that's going to get me arrested.
500 years later, a garbage avalanche disturbs Joe and Rita's hibernation chambers. Joe awakens in Fredo Penjo's apartment in previously occupied Washington, D.C., seeking assistance. Joe's higher register conflicts with the average anti-intellectualism. There is an ongoing joke where Joe, by using big words, is considered gay.
Yes, they use the F slur a lot.
Yeah.
And then I realized, I was like, I mean, this was in 2005, and it was already at that point, or 2006. That term was already starting to move out of the general everyday lexicon. Like, it was not something that was like, I wasn't saying it or hearing it as much as I did when I was in high school or when I was, but I mean, there were some things like, if you watched like not Will and Grace or something like that, you would hear, like a fag hag, and that was kind of a term that was going around, but you didn't really say, well, that's I hate saying it. God. It's gonna be so hard to talk about this because they literally slur the fuck out of it through the entire thing.
And it was ongoing, and it's like later on when they're in that field, and Fredo is making fun of him, and he goes, "Oh, look, I'm Joe." He's making a girly voice, and Joe's like, "I don't sound like that." And the guard is like, "Whoa, I thought there were two."
Yeah,
so it was funny, and it was part of the movie. Like I said, I wasn't offended by it. Like it was just so stupid.
No, because it drove home.
Yeah.
Just how stupid and out of pocket, like, everybody in this world is.
Yeah.
And how out of place Joe and Rita are. Like, Rita's like, you're super stupid. I'm going to take advantage.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm going to work the system because finally the system is made to work for me. And Joe is just like, why are you all like this? Like, just take a minute and think. He asks them to do the impossible over and over again. And every time he does, it's literally, they act like he's asking for a miracle.
Yes.
It's fantastic.
He enters a hospital believing the army administered hallucinogenic drugs to him. Joe realizes the year upon reading a magazine. That's the bit we watched before. But he is arrested at Carl's Jr. for not having a barcode tattoo and being able to pay his bill. Yeah, Justin Long. I love Justin Long.
I love Justin
He's
Long too.
So friggin' funny. And he's good at serious stuff too.
He is.
Joe is sent to trial. Frito represents Joe, but alleges he destroyed his apartment. Yeah, Frito just turns on him completely.
Frito was supposed to be defending him, and then all of a sudden, because other people laughed at jokes, he's like, I'm going to make a joke, and then they're going to laugh with me. And then he just like turns on and gets like charges added to Joe. I'm like, oh,
and
Joe.
Of course, what's his name? The judge there, who is a frequent collaborator with Mike Judge in Office Space. His and he's who is he? He's Bill Dotry in King of the Hill.
Oh God, what is his?
What is his name?
What is his name? Because he's not on my current like list right here. But he also had the Wolverine facial hair and hair, like classic Wolverine from the from the cartoons.
What is his name here? It's a judge.
Wait, I know. Oh, he was on
News Radio.
Yes, I'm right there. And he is Stephen Root.
Stephen Root. That's it.
That took too long.
Yeah. But yeah, he plays Bill.
Yeah.
I do love King of the Hill.
I never really got into it.
Oh no,
No.
It's pretty funny. The judge perceives Joe to have an effeminate voice and homosexual demeanor, finding him guilty and sending him to prison. Rita resumes her job as a prostitute. Joe is sent to a correctional facility where a faulty identification machine registers his name as not sure and takes a simplified aptitude test. He escaped from prison after deceiving a guard by saying he had served his sentence and was scheduled for release. Yes, I love him saying that I'm supposed to be getting out today, and the guard just slaps him in the head. You're in the wrong line, stupid.
Then he goes there and they're about to like check him out, and he's like, "What was that?" And then he just runs.
He escaped from prison. Oh no, Joe visits Frito, who agrees to guide him to a time machine located within a large Costco wholesale store. After Joe promises to create a savings account in Frito's name, earning him billions in compound interest. And it was easy here to see, as we touched on in the preview, the box office part, because Terry Crews had said in an interview, once the corporate sponsors saw their brand, I could see why they were not happy. It was very funny.
Oh, yeah. No, it was great.
Yeah, they should have just rolled with it. Like, I could see Costco, Starbucks being a little upset, but like, because the hand jobs at Starbucks.
Yeah, Starbucks, but where all of a sudden perfectly normal, like, restaurants have turned into brothels.
Yeah.
You're just like, how did that? Like, that's what a latte is. And I'm like, oh no, I don't want to know.
Well, yeah. Extra froth. Welcome to Costco. I love you. And the size of the stuff in their, the size of the fucking Costco was
honestly, when I saw the size of that Costco, I was like, that's terrifying. And that's consumerism, like at the max.
And I don't know if you saw it, but they had like lube, and it was like 7 feet high with giant pumps.
It's so nuts.
That's pretty good. With Rita, Joe and Frito enter the store, but Joe is arrested after his barcode is scanned. Joe is taken to the White House and appointed Secretary of the Interior by President Dwayne Elizondo Mountain Dew Hubert Camacho due to extraordinary performance on his aptitude test. So he's now the smartest person and
in the world.
In the world. And the Secretary of Defense, I noticed him. He's been in quite a few things. But it was, what's his name? The Secretary of State, David Herman, who was in the original Mad TV.
Yeah.
And he's a frequent collaborator. He was in Office Space, and he also does tons of voices on King of the Hill. And actually he he's one of those people like, what happened to that guy? He really got into kind of like Matthew Lillard. He just
Yeah.
got into voice work
Yeah.
and had made I guess a great living doing it because he's been in a ton of it.
You can make a really great living doing voice work if you get booked regularly.
Yeah.
You can, but even because depending on the contract and where you're doing the voice work, I'm pretty sure it's pretty similar in the States. But here in Canada, if you record something for one episode, but they decide to use it in other episodes afterwards, you get paid for each time they use it.
Yeah.
You don't have to go in and re-record it. It's just, okay, now you appear in this episode, so now we have to pay you for that episode.
Yeah.
I've thought about getting into voice work quite a bit.
I wonder how you do that. You have to have a whole bunch of different voices under your belt.
Not necessarily. It depends. It depends. I mean, don't get me wrong. The people who can do multiple voices get the most work.
Right.
Like there are a few actors where if we cast them on a show, and like a smaller character would come up who had like 2 or 3 lines, we'd be like, that guy can do it. That guy can. And there were sometimes that one actor would play like 5 different characters in the same episode.
Yeah, and that's what this David Herman, I noticed that when I looked at his King of the Hill, he played a couple main characters, but he did like it looked like hundreds of just cashier or guy on street, that type of thing.
Well, usually if there's only one line, that's usually thrown in as a freebie if they're cast as a main character in the episode. So you can get like one free line as like another character. So they'll do that where they'll be like, okay, you're also cashier.
Where am I? Okay. In an address, Camacho states that Joe will resolve unfruitful crop yields, dust storms, and the stagnant economy, among other issues, within a week or face imprisonment. Joe and Rita visit a crop field. Frito gives him an incomprehensible map to the time machine. Yeah, that was awesome.
Okay, we've got the map. Ah, jeez.
It's like he's like, all right, we got the. Oh, I should have known better. And it's just he did it in fucking crayon. And you are here and just squiggly lines.
And just squiggly lines
machine.
and then time machine. Spelt wrong.
Yeah, it's spelt wrong too. Oh, Joe discovers that the country's crops are being watered by Brondo, a sports drink whose parent company owns the Food and Drug Administration, the Department of Health and Human Services, and the Federal Communications Commission. The concentration of electrolytes in Brondo has destroyed natural topsoil, causing dust storms. Despite opposition to his plan in the form of circular reasoning from the cabinet, Joe convinces Camacho to use water instead of Brondo in irrigation. Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, he
that whole argument at the White House.
That was amazing.
But it's got electrolytes.
But Brondo has what plants need.
Yeah.
It has electrolytes.
And he's trying to
and he's like,
what is that?
What is an what are electrolytes?
Yeah,
it's what plants need.
It's what plants need.
It's what Brondo has. Brondo has what plants need. It's electrolytes. It was like so. And then the voiceover says he had to convince them that the plants could talk to him.
Yeah.
And that the plants asked for water.
Water.
And everybody was like, oh, okay. Yeah. No.
And they're like, water, like in a toilet?
Like from the toilet? Because at the hospital, he asks for a glass of water. And he's like, can I just get a glass of water? And the guy's like from the toilet? And I'm like, I mean, ew.
Yeah, because even the whatchamacallit, what is that? The fountain has Brondo in it.
Brondo. And it terrifies me. It really terrifies me because I've seen the size of big gulp cups. And like there are people like carrying I saw a TikTok of someone who claims to be, and trust me, I think this person is a soda addict. So obviously they're American because they call it soda. I don't know why I put a Minnesotan accent on that. Anyways, they went to buy a soda. It was this big 100-ounce like mug, insulated mug. And I was like, how do you drink that? I can't. I can sometimes barely finish a can of Coke.
Well, by the time you get down, it'd be all flat and shit. Yeah.
Right? if it still has carbonation by the time you finish it, how fast are you drinking this stuff and how torn up is your stomach? Oh my God.
And I'll be honest, back in the day, I used to love Monster and Rockstar and shit like that. They were so good.
I
And then
have
you
never tried a
realize how
Monster.
fucking horrible they are.
I've never tried a Monster. I've never tried a Rockstar.
Oh, no?
No.
Oh,
I
they're
have
great.
tried a Red Bull.
Red Bull, yeah.
First time I ever tried one, shit, I think was it in 2004? I think it might have been 2004. I literally took 2 sips and I was like, "This hurts my teeth. I
Yeah.
can't drink this." And that was it.
Yeah.
I think I've tried it once more with vodka though. So I mean,
Yeah, they're not good for you.
no, they
No.
are not.
They do taste good. Yeah, Red Bull with vodka. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not bad. Actually, it's pretty good.
I could drink that because the vodka kind of mellowed the Red Bull out.
Yeah. Consequently, Brondo, who employs half the population, files for bankruptcy, inciting riots as immediate improvements to the crops do not materialize. Yeah, that was Hayden Church.
Well, Thomas Hayden Church, who I
Yeah.
love. But Brondo doesn't actually file for bankruptcy.
No.
This is another like it's just it goes, "Hello, cheese toast." Sorry. It starts with because they're using water in the irrigation, the stock price goes down to 0, which triggers the automatic layoff.
That's right,
Where they
yeah.
lay off like every employee.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Oh, this is actually really interesting." Because layoffs that are very impersonal and kind of triggered, which are also being triggered right now, because of Trump possibly taking office. It's a whole like it's so I was like, "Oh yeah, no, the automated stuff where it's not about the people or like what jobs they actually do or not even trying to like fix situations. It's just automatically like, nope, the
Layoff.
computer decides."
Yeah.
Like we're taking people out of it. It's the computer who's deciding.
At the extreme court, Joe is sentenced to public execution in a monster truck demolition derby against undefeated rehabilitation officer Beef Supreme. I did not know Beef Supreme was a Wilson.
I did not know until afterwards either.
Yeah.
God bless the Wilsons. Also, all 3 of them look completely different.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they have different moms or dads.
There is no, there is 0 like, you know how sometimes you see people who are related
Oh,
to
where
each
you're
other,
no like,
cousins,
yeah, they're
and
related.
there's something.
Yeah.
There's something that's similar.
No,
All 3
these
of them
3
look
are nothing.
completely different.
Yeah.
And I love it for them. Like, good for them.
And yeah, this was for rehabilitation, and Joe was like, "Oh, that doesn't seem that bad." And okay, because it's not here, they bring out these giant monster trucks with these big steel dildos, just fucking ramming. And then he's like, "Well, I got a car too," and they're like, "Yeah, you do."
Well, he's like, "Do I get a truck too?" They're like,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah," and then they bring out basically
that little Pinto.
Yeah.
And it's got that big giant purple floppy dildo on the front of it.
Yes. And yes, cheese toast. There are 3: Luke Wilson, Owen Wilson, and Andrew Wilson, who plays Beef Supreme with such gravitas in this movie.
Who is actually he's actually been quite a few things. Like a few
I
things that
believe
you
it.
and you just don't recognize him because he doesn't look like Luke or Owen at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing. Mind you, Luke and Owen, like they have a slightly similar nose. But
Yes.
even that is not like, oh, they have
Not
the same nose.
predominant. Yeah, it's
Yeah. It's interesting. But yeah, apparently Andrew Wilson's been in Bottle Rocket,
with his brothers, yeah.
yeah, the Royal Tenenbaums, Whip It, Rushmore, Zoolander.
Yeah, he's been in quite a bit.
Good for him.
Smaller parts, like
Yeah, but I have a feeling he's not really looking for the super fame and fortune.
no.
I feel like he's like, this is enough to pay my mortgage.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Like what's his name?
The Hemsworth brother, the third one.
No, Adam Sandler always has a group of people that appear
yeah.
in his movies, and they're not great actors or anything. They're his
No.
friends. And they're fine, I guess, with just these little parts. That's it.
Well, I'm sure they're like,
And they
don't
probably
me
get
wrong,
paid okay.
they'll get paid like scale.
Yeah.
So
I'm
you
pretty
go
sure
on
they're
set for
happy.
like a week and you're getting like $1,500. You're like, yeah, okay, that's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
But his truck was pretty awesome. At the extreme. Hold on. Joe sends a public execution. Monster truck demolition derby against undefeated. Yeah, here we go. Rita and Frito discover that Joe's reintroduction of water to the soil allowed crops to grow. Rita pays a cameraman to broadcast the crops on the Stadio Jumbotron. Now, this took some time because Frito got distracted with the cameraman because there was a Starbucks there.
Yeah. Right next to the crops, there was a Starbucks, and
So they went in to get a hand job.
off. They had half off lattes.
Yeah, half off lattes. So they got distracted for a bit.
They did.
Well, not sure, or Joe is driving around trying to not get murdered.
Well, the best part is Joe first, in order to prevent Joe from escaping again, they tie a giant ass rock, or they chain him to a giant ass rock.
Yeah.
Which in itself causes a little bit of hilarity.
Rita's kind of like earlier. She's like, "Well, can't you just escape like last time?" And he's like, they kind of figured that out, and they tied him to a big giant rock.
He's like, they chained me to a big giant rock, and then it pans from the chain to the big giant rock that's just sitting there.
Yeah.
And then you see a forklift like pick it up and like drive it past. And then they basically throw the rock down the stairs, and Luke Wilson goes with it. God bless. So they don't take the rock off when he goes into the rehabilitation.
No, they dump it on the car.
They dump it on the car because after they tried to close the door like 4 times with the chain sticking out of it, and he's like, the chain's stopping the door. The chain is in the door. The chain is in the door. They're like, we can fix it, and they just drop it on the back of the car.
Yeah, they don't unlock them. They drop the rock on the car.
Yeah, super smart. But he outsmarts the 2 big trucks.
Yep.
Which, yay, they crash into each other.
And then Beef Supreme, actually, when he was making his entrance, had made the whole thing cave in on him.
Because his truck was too big.
Because his truck was way too big.
And then he comes out from the rubble.
Yeah.
With a flamethrower. This movie is so ridiculous. And can I just say the names? The names make my life.
Beef Supreme, President Camacho, Mountain Dew Camacho,
Frito. Oh God, I wrote down some of them. Formica. She was one of the newscasters.
Yeah.
Formica. Yeah, those were the only ones I wrote. But it was funny. I was like, what Dr. Lexus? That was Justin
Dr.
Long's
Lexus.
Dr. Lexus. Oh my God.
So finally, Frito does get the picture of the crops growing, prompting Camacho to grant Joe a presidential pardon. Joe discovers, okay, so they're getting ready to go. No one wants Joe to go because he's so smart. Rita decides she's going to stay. And does he go the time machine first, or no, he decides to stay?
No, he decides to stay because he was promoted to vice president, I think.
Yes.
He gets asked to be vice president. He's like, no, I gotta go back. Rita's like, I don't have a pimp here. I can be who I want to be. I'm gonna stay. So when he says that he eventually decides to stay because it's do you lead, do you follow, or do you walk away?
Get out of the way.
Get out of the way.
Which was at the beginning of the movie. He always got out of the way.
He always got out of the way, and then he says it to the president and all of his cabinet when he's like, "You got to figure this out yourselves." And he gives the saying, and then I guess it gets thrown back in his face, and he's like, "No, you know what? I'll stay." And I'm not going to go to the time machine. And then someone says, "Good, that ride sucks." It's like it's a ride. What? It's not a real time machine. And Frito's like, "Yeah, I knew it was a ride.
I just wanted the money.
I really like money."
But he's like, if I couldn't go back, how are you gonna get the money? Then he just has a dumb look on his face.
And then they ride the ride.
Joe discovers the time machine was an amusement ride, a detail Frito was aware of. Joe becomes a president and marries Rita, and this was awesome. With whom he has 3 children, the 3 smartest children in the world. Frito becomes vice president, has 32 of the dumbest children in the world.
And 8 wives.
and 8 wives, all stated to be the dumbest kids ever to walk Earth.
Yes.
In contrast to Joe and Rita's children, who are the 3 smartest kids in the world. And that is our movie.
Until you get to the post-credit
The
scene.
post-credit scene. What was the post-credit scene again?
There was a third cryo
Oh, right. Yeah.
thing, and it opens up. And who comes out of it? None other than Upgrade with 2 Ds.
Upgrade. And that is our movie. What is your score?
You know what? I'm gonna say this is a rent it. I don't think this is a movie that you can really watch on repeat. This is not necessarily a comfort movie. It's not necessarily I'm a laugh so hard I pee every single time I watch it. I do think it's a very funny movie, and I do think it has some really great indictments on the world. And weirdly, when you think about it, like, it was made in 2006. We're watching it in 2024. And it doesn't seem that far off base.
No.
Like,
Awesome.
it's terrifying also. But I mean, like, you're sitting there going, wow, he really knew some shit back then. Because you watch it now and you're like, oh, it doesn't seem like you see people who are so consumed with media that they're no longer looking for quality media.
No.
They're not questioning what they're the skill of critical thinking is lost now. For the amount of times I've heard people say some of the stupidest shit ever in the history of the world. Like, just stuff where you're like, do you hear yourself speaking? Because you sound like a fucking moron. And they're like, no, it's definitely true because Bob, who has a podcast, said it was. And you're like, Jesus Christ. So, I mean, it's not that far off. The rise of capitalism and how people always seem to be chasing wealth and status and, stuff like that. And I'm sorry, but I have seen some of these kids now whose parents have taught them that the entire world is a retail store. And really, the customer is always right and they're the customer. They've taught their kids to behave this way and they're behaving this way. So then you're going to end up with a world where everything is just easy. It's just nice. You get what you want. Everything's great. And you just keep rolling with it. And it's a weird, this movie has a hardcore indictment on society. And it's disturbing to me that we've come so much closer to what's in this movie from 2006. I think it's definitely a movie everybody should watch. And I definitely think it's a great movie to kind of point out that, you know what, just because someone is famous doesn't make them smart, doesn't make them capable, doesn't make them qualified. Also, it is fucking funny. You're going to giggle through the entire thing. And if for nothing else, just remember, this is the first time Crocs made their media debut.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they were picked because they were the ugliest shoes.
The ugliest shoe they could find.
Ugliest shoes they could find. And now look at where they are now.
Yeah.
They have accessories. So I think it's also the set choices, the clothing choices, there's a lot to unpack. And I think this is a movie I could probably watch another 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
And, you pick up something new. But am I going to want to watch it a lot? No. So I don't think a buy it is worth it. But I do think that a rental is worth it. No, don't rent it for $14.99 because that's just stupid. But a $7.99 rental, I wouldn't even be mad at. So yeah, I say rent it. What's your rating?
My score is I think the same. I'm just trying to think here because yes, there is a lot of politically incorrect language. It does not offend. I mean, it could offend. It could offend you, but it doesn't come across as offensive. It comes across as stupid, and it suits the movie. I laughed out loud a few times. It wasn't a gut buster through the way, but I did giggle a lot. If you remember liking this movie, you probably still will, and it is worth a rental. I agree with you. Like, I always take a look at, like, if I'm buying a movie, am I going to watch it enough to pay off that movie?
Mhm.
Like, I bought, what was it last week there or the 2 weeks ago, Halloween 2. It's probably a bad investment because I probably am not going to
Yeah.
watch it enough to pay off that movie. But yeah, it's worth a solid rental, especially if you remember watching it back in 2006 with friends. You remember the time period. Yeah, it's definitely, it could be a really fun movie to watch. I wouldn't buy it. It's a
Yeah.
rental. It did touch on a lot of things that are happening now, and
Mhm.
it's easy to see why, because we're consumed with social media. Because they had a thing where, and I don't want to get political, but during the election, a lot of the votes took a lot of time to count because Gen Zers, they had a problem with their signature trying to
Yeah.
match. And then you're like, how fucking stupid can you be? But then you think about it, it's not their fault because they're not used to grabbing a pen and writing down.
Yeah.
So they don't, it's not their fault. It's just the direction we're heading in. I just hope we don't head completely into that direction.
Well, and I
Like,
mean, it's a checks and balance thing, right? Like,
yeah,
you hear now, like, kids are not, like, as they're getting older, they're not writing anything down, so then they lose that skill. So it's a weird thing, so you're like, you gotta enforce it, and
like
then eventually they'll keep that skill.
like cursive. They don't do cursive in school anymore.
I hear they're about to reintroduce it.
I should. And like you think McDonald's, it's all on their it used to be, I don't know if they changed it, on their cash register. It's all fucking pictures.
Yeah, buddy.
It's just
Like,
pictures. It's
I'm not
Does it they
condemning
do
the
that because it
kids.
makes faster? It makes it faster for
It
everybody
can
or
make it faster, but when I worked at Second Cup, when I was yes to the Oxford comma, uh, thank you, cheese toast. Um, but yeah, no, when I was working at Second Cup, everything was written in words on my cash register. We had a very similar one to what McDonald's had, and it was like small coffee,
yeah.
latte, this, like, they were words. So I had to learn how to read fast so I could check out people because I worked at Union Station and the lineup went into the station. So that's where I picked up a lot of that, but I wanna be super clear, like, I'm not condemning the kids, because
No.
somebody taught them this shit.
Yeah.
Somebody taught them that they didn't need to know how to write things down. Somebody taught them new math. The fuck is that? I have a
I
beef.
saw a YouTube reel where someone was arguing like 2 plus 2 doesn't necessarily make it 4. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
You fucking
Not all
moron.
opinions are valid.
Yeah.
If you're a fucking moron and you don't know anything on the subject, your opinion adds no value. Nobody needs to hear it. And I think that needs to be said more to people.
Yeah.
Like, just because you can buy a microphone doesn't mean people need to listen to what you say. She
Yeah.
realizes as she speaks into the microphone she bought.
Yeah.
I
Some
went to film
people
school, though.
yeah. So start beating your children is what we're trying to say here. And
Don't beat them. Don't beat them. That's bad. Don't do that. But maybe have a stern talking to. Make
remember
them
when they
practice
tried
their
to
writing
make
skills.
alternate facts? What was that?
Yes. Alternative facts. That was when they were like, "That's not true," and they're like, "Yes, it is. It's an alternative fact." Where basically the lie that you want to believe, you've turned into a
Oh,
fact
okay,
in your
yeah, a fact in your
head.
head, yeah. I got a
Yeah.
lot of those.
Yes, you do.
Like
Yes,
Diet
you do.
Pepsi, you can't keep it in the fridge because it turns to poison if you put tin foil over it.
The fuck kind of bullshit? What?
I don't know. That was told to me when I was a kid.
Jesus Christ. Who
Diet
did you let
Pepsi.
talk to you?
My parents, they're fucking hillbillies.
Basically, they just didn't want you to drink Diet Pepsi. That's all it was. They were like, "No." But yeah, no, I mean, there's a lot, and it's one of those things. Like, this movie kind of highlights a lot of stuff, and this is why it's entertaining, but also terrifying at the same time, because you can see us on this path.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
this is
yeah.
not that far.
Maybe not to this extreme.
Well, I mean,
Excuse me, but
if you think about it, and you're like, "This is 500 years."
yeah.
Like, the world deteriorates that much, and you're like, "Actually, if we keep doing what we're doing, in 500 years, that kinda seems plausible that we're gonna be
Yeah,
that
to
much of a
that
shit show."
yeah. So it's like too many TikToks can either or less TikToks can either put us towards Star Trek or they can put us towards Idiocracy. So,
Yeah, and personally, I think everybody should watch Star Trek, especially The Next Generation, because this is how I ended up with my worldview. Because I was 8 when I started watching that, and
I love what's the new one? Strange New Worlds.
I still, I, I have been meaning to
That is
watch
such
everything
a
I've
great
missed out
show.
on now that I'm not working full time, and I've barely done anything. Never apologize for oversharing cheese toast. Never. Deep Space Nine is great, but also Voyager. Voyager really shaped a lot in my head because they had the like moral debates out loud on that show. But there's a lot of stuff that we consume that really shapes our head and our views, our world views, and our thoughts and our feelings. And if you watch Idiocracy and you think that sounds like fun, I want to live in that world. Sit down, be quiet, and go find a smart friend to help you walk through the world.
Yeah, Starbucks thing would be all right.
No, it would not.
Costco.
Unless they're unionized, there is no way that's a good thing.
Oh, yeah. All
Yes,
right.
cheese toast. It is definitely time for you to become a Trekkie. I think we should all be Trekkies. I'm not gonna say fuck Star Wars
I love
because
Star Wars.
I
Not the
like
new
Star
stuff,
Wars, but
but
oh no,
the
I'm
new
not that
stuff
crazy about the new stuff.
sucks ass. Not all of it. Some of it's okay. Most of it's junk. Yeah, they ruined it. I hate her. I hate her so much. Kathleen
Whoa,
Kennedy. Ugh. She ruined everything.
that's a little intense.
So yeah, if like so basically, if you remember liking Idiocracy, you probably are still gonna like Idiocracy. It's worth a rental. I wouldn't buy it. I think it's streaming on Hulu,
And Disney Plus in
and Disney
Canada.
Plus, and yeah, it's definitely worth a stream. Like if you have Hulu, you have Disney Plus in Canada and UK. Yeah, because Disney Plus in Canada and UK get all the Hulu stuff
Yeah.
included in their Disney Plus.
Correct.
America gets fucked. They have to get Hulu and Disney Plus. But yeah, if you have it, it's definitely worth a stream.
At
Especially if
least
you haven't
once.
seen it in a while. Yeah, if you haven't
Yeah,
seen it
or
in a
if you
while.
haven't seen it at all, yeah.
Or if
Like,
you haven't seen it at all, yeah. Strap in.
strap in,
If
watch
you're
this.
easily triggered, don't strap in.
Oh no, this will hurt your feelings. Don't watch this if you're
There
if
is
you're a
no
little
consideration
sensitive.
of your feelings in this movie
No.
at all.
Also, let's be super clear. Like, even though it is a great commentary on society and the choices that are being made, it is not a highbrow film. Let's be super clear about that. Like, this, a lot of the humor is very guttural. A lot of the interactions are very not highbrow. We'll go there. There
Yeah.
you go. That's enough.
And I do apologize that our broadcaster here is having troubles. There is no trivia. Unfortunately, and there was some funny trivia, but there wasn't anything overly. It was more, did you notice this kind of things in the movie at like this time? Here's
I will throw this in. Well, we talked about the Crocs and the choice that was made to include them, but also when they're going through and they have a cigarette ad, a cigarette billboard, I paused the movie because I was like, "There's
the
a
Surgeon General
warning."
has one lung.
I was like,
and a
"What
voice
does that
box.
say?" Yeah. Warning: the Surgeon General has one lung and a voice box, but he can still kick your sorry ass.
Yeah.
And every word is capitalized, and other than the colon, there is no punctuation.
Well, when he was when he was being actually apprehended at the Costco, the background display actually had why he was wanted. He was wanted for being a dick, for escaping from jail, for fucking up lots of shit.
Also, all of the brands are spelt differently. You
Yes.
see the restaurant when it begins in like 2006, and it says Fuddruckers.
Yeah.
In 2505, it's butt fuckers.
It's butt fuck. Yeah, it's butt fuckers. Yeah.
I rewound because I was like, does it really say that?
Yeah, it did. Also the electric guitar army.
Oh my God.
Guitar army. That was funny, but they were playing the Changeling by the Doors.
Also, everybody's wearing that super shiny material, and it made me so uncomfortable.
Yeah. The object that causes the garbage avalanche of 2505 is a beer can, which coincidentally is recyclable.
Actually, at the end of the movie, you see someone who looks like she's separating garbage from recyclables, and I was like, "Oh my God, is the world already changing?" That's a little hopeful.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the pimp comes out of the coffin with a garbage heap around it, and then you're like, maybe it's not gonna be so great.
All right. Well, yeah. Anything else you want to add for Idiocracy 2006?
I know it seems far-fetched, but it's not that far-fetched. And it was a little concerning. It was a little terrifying because I'm like, I don't think this is absolutely like out of the realm of possibility, which is terrifying. But overall, it's a great movie. And I mean, Luke Wilson is a hottie. That's it. That's all I got.
All right. Well, thank you for coming back to 2006 and previewing and watching Idiocracy and talking about Idiocracy. And until the next movie we remember liking.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.